Welcome all to the NFC East Mixtape, a project presented to you in partnership by really everyone in the world. You can hear this show in any of 4 different capacities. Blog of the Boys, SB Nation's home for Dallas Cowboys content. Big Blue View, SB Nation's home for New York Giants content. Hogs Haven, SB Nation's home for Washington Commanders content. And Bleeding Green Nation, SB Nation's home for Philadelphia Eagles content. Once again, I am RJ Ochoa from BTB. He is Brandon Lee Gowton from BGN. Brandon, how goes it? Happy Tuesday. Happy Wednesday for the listener. Happy all days, every single day in the history and future of the universe.
RJ, what do you know about cotton candy grapes?
Oh, dude, I am so happy you asked. My wife bought them one time. Unbeknownst to me, I tried them and I said, honey, these are sweet. What's going on here? Like, this is crazy. And she said, yeah, they're cotton candy grapes. It tastes exactly like cotton candy.
I didn't really know this is a thing until like a week or two ago. And I thought I was being kind of like pranked or lied to. I'm like, no, this doesn't sound real. And I had them and I'm like, oh, wow. These have somehow existed and I didn't know about it.
Were the ones you had the red or green?
Green.
Cotton candy. Okay, they do exist in red. Those are the first ones I had, but I have since had the green. Very good question. On the subject of green, there are a lot of Eagles fans who listen to the show. There are a lot of Cowboys fans who listen to the show. And we encourage whoever you are, however you listen, to subscribe to your preferred podcast provider, whatever team it is you support. But also, as BLG has dubbed it, give us the cross review. If you're an Eagles fan, go to BTB or Big Blue View or Hogs Haven. Or if you're whatever fan, go to somewhere else, leave a review, 5-star rating, of course, and we will read it. Brandon, I have a review for you. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
This comes to us. It is a review on the Blog and the Boys feed from David Griffith01. Seemingly like a second mock of David Griffith, it would be implied. 5-star review. Title is Eagles fan enjoying Cowboys content. I want to be very clear about this. Eagles fan enjoying Cowboy content. Here it is from David. First, it needs to be said that RJ is hands down my favorite Cowboys Eagles fan on the SB Nation podcast network. He's not afraid to call the Cowboys out for constantly underperforming, and his Russell impression is in all caps, BLG, spot on. What else could anyone ask for in an Eagles fan? LOL. To keep my primary point simple, listening to Cowboys fans go through their perennial time of convincing themselves they're Super Bowl contenders is priceless. But I do have one issue with RJ. His take on the 2022 NFL draft doesn't make sense to me. How can he say the Titans won the trade because the Eagles gave up a first for AJ when he was the same guy who insisted Amari Cooper was worth a first? Which receiver do you guys predict will have the better stats/career at the conclusion of their time with their respective NFC East team? Over the past 3 years, Amari Cooper, 292 receptions, 3,160 yards, and 21 touchdowns versus Browns with 185 receptions, 2,995 yards, and 24 touchdowns prior to joining the Eagles. I've given my take on the Amari A.J. Brown scuttlebutt that has, found me over on the SB Nation NFL show, which people should subscribe to as well. Do you think A.J. Brown will have a more productive 3-year stretch with Philadelphia than Amari did with Dallas, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say right now just because if Jalen Hurts continues...
you're scared. I get it. You're scared.
No, I'm not scared of it. I'm just saying, like, right now, we don't have evidence of the Eagles having a high volume passing offense in a successful way. They tried to do that at the beginning of last year. It didn't work with Jalen Hurts. They've had to pivot. I think they're going to try to go back to more of a volume than they were at the end of last year, where they're running the ball more than any team in the NFL.
Sounds good to me.
It's not really scared. I'm just saying, like, until I see high volume, I can't really say he's going to have better volume numbers, but I think he could definitely have better efficiency numbers because he kind of already has.
Interestingly, Amari has basically played the same amount of games in Dallas as he did with Oakland, obviously pre-Vegas. I don't know if you knew that, Brandon. 56 games with the Cowboys as opposed to 52 games with the Raiders. 292 receptions in Dallas versus 225 with the Raiders. 38.93 yards in Dallas, 31.83 yards with the Raiders. 27 touchdowns with the Cowboys and only 19 with the Raiders. So I think it's safe to say that Dallas really maximized Amari, really got a lot of juice out of that fruit, so to speak. And he
maximized them.
I think he did. I actually, a good friend of mine, good friend named Jimmy, not Jimmy Kemsky, who I had to ask to come on to the mixtape, Brandon. You haven't been carrying your end of this. So Jimmy promised us that he would come on at some point.
But my friend, fire series, yeah.
Right. My friend Jimmy, the year that the Cowboys traded for Amari, he was telling me every single day, he was like, if I was Amari, I would hold out. after this offseason? Because like you remember very vividly,
Yeah.
the impact Amari had in 2018 was insane. There was no way he was ever going to be able to recapture that. And he never did. I mean, he was productive and efficient, but he was never that version of himself. If he had held out, especially, half a year after they had traded a first round pick for him, they would have had to have paid him everything. I think it was a massive failure on his part in not doing so.
Totally agree. I mean, we see that all the time where, there's usually pressure on teams to get deals done as they're acquiring the player, kind of like the Eagles did with A.J. Brown, as opposed to being in a spot where you're left waiting because then the player has all the leverage because showed the team has showed their hand. They know how much the player knows just how much the team values them. So, yeah, then the ball is in their court.
Do you remember, I think it was the very next offseason that the Texans gave Laramie Tunsil his deal. So kind of he sort of did what, we're saying Amari should have done. But whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
The past is the past. Today's episode of the mixtape is all about the future. We are going to predict every single game now that the schedule is officially out for all 4 NFC East teams. Brandon, are you ready to fly?
I'm ready to go through game by game, RJ.
So do you want to do this like team by team, or do you want to go like week by week?
We'll do it team by team, I think, is the way to do it. We can start with your Dallas Cowboys.
My argument would be to do week by week. Because if we go team by team and we say, like, I think one NFC East team's beating the other, then when we get to that team, we've already kind of showed our hands a little bit.
All right, then you lead the way then.
Look, let's do this. Let's go week by week.
Okay.
It's okay. This was a much better idea. You could admit that. Week 1, the season opener. The Dallas Cowboys had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, Sunday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles visiting the best quarterback in the 2016 first round in Jared Goff, and the Detroit Lions. The Washington Commanders seeing Carson's ghost in the Jacksonville Jaguars right away out the gate, and the New York Giants at the Tennessee Titans. Brandon, I only have one NFC East team winning in week 1.
Yeah, so I have the Cowboys losing to the Bucs to start the season. I have the Eagles. I actually have the Eagles losing to the Lions in my record prediction. Look, I think they're a dangerous team to play. Dan Campbell's going to have the Lions. The Lions lost to the Eagles last year. You may have heard of this score before, 44-6. So I think the Lions are going to be out for revenge. I have the Jags losing to Washington winning, and then I have the Giants getting beat by the Titans. So
you also only have one NFC East victory in week 1.
Yes.
Okay, I do as mentioned, but mine is the Eagles. I don't think there's this could be a big theme for my predictions. Of course, like there are a lot of things that are going to happen because of course they would happen, and so it is an of course matter of fact that Carson is destined to lose his first game because it's against the Jaguars. If there's one person that you can bet on, like kind of again being spooked by this, it's Carson Wentz. I agree with you that Detroit is going to be cute and plucky this year. It'll be their first game off of Hard Knocks if you care about that. I do think, and I'm interested to see like what his recovery time is. But if Jameson Williams plays in this game, that would be an of course factor for you. Like of course the dude I wanted like goes off for us or against us, whatever, blah blah blah. So, but
I will take the Lions to cover in that game at the very least. I will say that.
Well, that's their thing. So I will say this as we kind of move forward to week 2. I think the Cowboys, and I said this last year, if you recall, when they opened up at Tampa and LA against the Chargers, I said they would go 1-1. I said they would win one of those 2 games. And I feel the very same way about the beginning of this season. So I've got them losing to Tampa, which means I have them winning in week 2 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm a little bit down on the Bengals. I'm part of the consensus that thinks like the playoff run was a little bit fluky. That's not to say like I think they're trash, but whatever. I have the Eagles, Brandon, losing to the Minnesota Vikings, and I have the Commanders beating the Lions. So the Lions 0-2 against the division, and then I have the Giants beating the Panthers in week 2. So 3 wins in week 2 for the division, the only loss for Philadelphia.
I have the Cowboys starting out 0-2. The Sean Payton rumors will be just heating up. Oh, Mike McCarthy.
Oh, dude, if they're 0-1, they're heating up. Like that's it's not even. Doesn't have to wait till 0-2.
Heating up is they already have heated up, and no games have been played. But even further, I think Washington will then lose. I have the Lions starting out 2-0. How about that? I think they split the Commanders. They split between Jacksonville and Detroit. You can pick which one. I think they go 1-1 to start the year. I have the Eagles beating. I think the Eagles also split. So if they're going to lose to the Lions, I have them winning at home. Although Kirk does famously give them trouble, which I was trying to find the word on the latest episode of BGN Radio, RJ, for my Eagles schedule prediction, where I was like, I have a tough time reconciling the fact that I believe Kirk Cousins isn't any good, but somehow he always beats the Eagles. And part of the thing there is the Eagles haven't been good a lot of times they played him. Cognitive dissonance is the word I was looking for, or the two words rather I was looking for. So there we go.
That's the like adult way to say of course. You know what I mean? Like there is like this of course factor that exists for a lot of things. That's the better way to do it. So
and then, man, I think the Giants can beat the Panthers.
Dude, they're beating the Panthers. Come on, like the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, right? Like we're willing to say this.
I had them. I did my power rankings last week. I think I had them either last or second to last.
Because like any team you can argue that's worse than them has a quality that is somewhat redeeming, right? Like the Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, right? Like the Texans have, I would say even Davis Mills is more redeeming than anything the Panthers have. Like
more upside.
Right, exactly. So there's nothing redeeming about the Panthers. There's nothing redeeming about Christian McCaffrey. Like there's nothing. I don't want to like.
Who is the Panthers' best player? I literally just asked this question.
DJ Moore. That's it. That's
okay.
He's the answer.
He went with Brian Burns, which I think is fair.
That's also fair. I mean, there's a little bit more like tenure for DJ Moore, obviously. But so okay, I have every team in the division starting off 1-1. You have everyone 1-1 except for the reigning division champions. Just to be very clear here.
That is correct. Hey, I'm a big Joe Burrow guy, so I got to stick with it. But let's move to week 3.
Okay, so this is all division. This is going to be a great week on the mixtape. Week 3, we've got Cowboys at the Giants, and that's on Monday Night Football, so we'll have to wait a little bit for that. But then we've got the Eagles at Washington. So both the teams we cover on the road for divisional games. So there can only be 2 winners here, and I have them as the 2 playoff games from last season. I think both Dallas and Philly get those wins on the road, and then I think the next week is like hell for Carson Wentz, having lost to the Eagles at home. And like by this point, I've got the Commanders at 1-2. So there's the chatter of like, oh man, we made a mistake, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera.
I can't believe the NFL didn't put the first Eagles-Washington game in Philly. Like that's a big mistake, right? Like what are you doing? Like all the intrigue about Carson Wentz's return to Lincoln Financial Field. Like how would you spoil that? There's going to be a bunch of Eagles fans at FedEx Field because there always are, but I think that they made a mistake there. I have the Cowboys getting their first win of the season here because they always beat the Giants. And I have the Eagles winning this game as well because it's in Maryland, Landover, Maryland. But there will be a lot of Philly fans there. And I think the Eagles will have juice for that game. As much as Carson Wentz might want revenge, I don't think he's going to get it here. So I have the Eagles at 2-1 and every other NFC East team at 1-2.
Of course you do. I have, for what it's worth, the Cowboys and Eagles both at 2-1 at this point, just for all of our listeners to remember who was a little bit more realistic. Okay, so let's move on then. Week 4, Dallas has Washington at home. That's a win. I mean, right? We can agree with this. By the way, that was the first week that we agreed 100%, although it was kind of an easy one because really only 2 games. So I have Dallas beating Washington at home. Okay. I have Philly beating Jacksonville at home in Doug Peterson's return. I have, obviously, Washington losing at Dallas, and I have the Giants beating the Chicago Bears. They're in the running for worst team in the NFL, too. I know Justin Fields maybe not somebody that qualifies as redeeming, but also more upside than anything that the Panthers have to offer.
Yeah, and Justin Fields definitely has a higher ceiling than Sam Darnold, and anyone could agree with that. So I have the Cowboys winning here. I do think it could be a little bit of a feisty game, but I don't know
Cowboys why I agree to do this. This is
getting 2-2. I have the Eagles winning as well. I think kind of a little bit of an interesting return with the only Super Bowl winning head coach in Eagles history coming back to Philly, but the Jags are still pretty bad.
Do you think he takes a picture in front of the statue, like with the Jaguars? Like I could see that could be like a viral moment, or maybe not him, but like somebody affiliated with the Jaguars. Somebody does that. Like I could totally see that happening.
Maybe someone, but definitely not Doug.
Isn't it amazing, by the way, that I just realized that both people associated with that statue ended up in Jacksonville, literally in their first place away from Philly.
Yeah, it is. And also just like the fact that there's a statue of them and they're not here anymore. Like there's very shortly after. It's strange. And this is a bigger topic for another time, but like it kind of takes some of the wind out of the sails, I guess, for like a Super Bowl win. Because it's not like, hey, we won the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes, who we won the Super Bowl with, and Andy Reid are still here and we have them for years to come. It's like they're already gone.
I've said this to you many times before, and I'm serious about it. Like the Eagles won the Super Bowl in the worst way possible. Like the worst way that you could win. Like the
I think you
least
could
amount
argue
of
that.
joy you could obtain from winning a Super Bowl is what happened to the
Well,
Eagles.
long
So.
term, yes, not in the moment. Yeah,
Sure,
but
sure.
long
Like the moment, the night, like the off season was great, but like the lasting effect of it was literally the worst possible thing it could be. But that's again maybe another off season show. But so okay, the Giants and Bears, you have who winning?
So I have the Bears getting their, the Giants getting their second win, advancing to 2-2.
Okay, so I've got the Giants at 2-2. I've got the Commanders at 1-3. So we both have them there, right?
Yep.
And we both have the Eagles at 3-1. The only place we differ is I have the Cowboys at 3-1. You have them at 2-2, right?
Yeah. And for the listener, like if you're losing track of this, we will recap obviously the end of the season here, the standings. So there you
go. Okay, so week 5, Cowboys are at Los Angeles, the Rams, same building, Rams on the Super Bowl. That's a loss for Dallas, whatever. I actually have this as a clean sweep of losses for the NFC East in week 5, BLG. Eagles losing at Arizona.
NFC East kind of week.
The Commanders losing at home to the Titans, and the Giants losing to the Packers. Like I think this might be like consensus the most difficult week for the division as a whole across the whole season.
I will take the Commanders to beat the Titans. Not super believing in Tennessee right now. I think it's a toss up of a game. I think I do have the Eagles losing to the Cardinals, even though it's significant that the Eagles will be getting Arizona without DeAndre Hopkins, which is kind of a big deal. Because he will be suspended for that game. And I'm not really the biggest believer in Cliff and Kyler, although I will say the Cardinals tend to play their better football at the beginning of the year as opposed to late in the season when they kind of collapse. So I give the Cardinals an edge here. And then I have the Giants. I have the Cowboys losing to the Rams as well. And I have the Giants losing to the Packers for sure.
The only one you have is the Commanders beating the Titans.
Correct.
One quick question on the Titans. So the Giants play them in week 1, the Commanders play them in week 5, the Eagles play them in week 13, and the Cowboys play them in week 17. Is it possible? Like I think the most likely team to face Malik Willis is Dallas because they face them the latest. But is it possible that Philly faces Malik Willis in week 13?
Possible. Sure. When is the Titans bye? Do we know when that is? Let's take a quick look at that because then that could always be a determination of when they will swap out their starting quarterback.
I'm pulling this up. The Titans have their bye in week 6.
Okay.
So right after the Washington game. So maybe to your point, Washington beats them and they're like, "Ugh, this sucks. We're on a bye. Let's get Ryan Tannehill out of here and Malik Willis in. Woo!" And then their next game, I don't know because their next after that it's Indy, so division game, at Houston division game, at Kansas City, and then Denver. So you got 4 really tough games. Maybe not. That's tough.
Yeah.
Tough to think. Maybe it's after they visit Green Bay in week 11, and that's a Thursday night game. So maybe like the little mini bye is when they decide to do it. But okay, so week 6, Dallas at Philly. They gave us the game early in the season, so it would have legitimate merit. I do think it's important to note that, and this will make you feel great, Dallas gets their trips to New York and Philadelphia out of the way like by mid-October. So like 2 of their more notoriously colder environments they have to visit, and they won't be cold at all this season, which is just an interesting subplot. So Dallas at Philly, Washington at Chicago, and New York at home against the Ravens. I have 2 teams in the division getting wins this particular week. I have the Commanders winning at Chicago, which bums me out from Matt Eberflus, and I have the Dallas Cowboys beating the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I just don't think you can give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt when it comes to playing the Cowboys, especially Jalen Hurts specifically. Like, look at that. Like, Jalen Hurts has played the Cowboys, twice? And what was the result of both of those games?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
But he did play a little bit, right, in the second game in 2020?
Yeah, no, he started that game in 2020. That's
right. And that was Hurts Dalton. So the Eagles got blasted in that game.
Yeah, they got blasted, and then so did they when he played last year.
Right. He didn't play. I got you. My bad.
Yeah, he didn't play in week 18 because that was meaningless. But yeah, so 2 Jalen Hurts starts against the Cowboys, and both of them have been blowout losses. That's not to say it's literally all of his fault and only his fault, but the point is
it's definitely some his fault.
It's definitely some of his fault. He's had some of his very worst games against them, and that's not a benefit of the doubt thing. It's like, show me, Jalen Hurts, that you can beat the Eagles top. Not even just beat them, but like hang with them. He hasn't to this point. So I don't know how you can just have supreme confidence that he's going to.
Okay, so then we agree there. I have Washington winning in Chicago and New York losing to Baltimore.
Correct.
Okay. So then let's move to week 7 where the Eagles are on bye. Man, it's going to be just got to lick your wounds from a loss to the Cowboys over
Well,
the bye.
I will note too about the Eagles bye, kind of not ideal necessarily because they are also coming off of Thursday night football a couple weeks later. So like their rest is kind of a little bit too close together. It's not spread out. Like players would probably prefer that it's more spread out.
I get
It's
what
like
you're
an early
saying.
bye and then
So
their mini bye.
they come out of the bye and play on a Sunday against the Steelers, and
Right.
then literally the next Thursday. So
Yeah.
they come out of the bye only to play 2 games in 5 days or whatever it is.
So the point is their bye and their mini bye are very close together. And I don't think that's ideal.
Right. Okay. So, well, T's and P's. But Cowboys have the Lions at home, easy dub. Eagles on bye. Commanders have the Packers at home, loss in my mind, and the Giants in Jacksonville. I gave that to New York.
Yeah. So the Cowboys beating the Lions. I have Washington. Who are they playing here? The Packers. That's a loss for sure. It's at home, but I don't think Carson Wentz going up against Aaron Rodgers. And then the Giants have the Jags. Ooh,
The Tom Coughlin Bowl.
I'll actually take the Jags to win that.
Ooh, I gave that to the
WP.
Giants. I think I'm a little bit more generous to every team here, just again for the listener to know. But
WP owns the Giants.
yeah, but do the Jaguars? I mean, so, okay. Well, let's move on because we'll recap it at the end, like BLG said. Week 8, Cowboys have the Bears at home. The Eagles have the Steelers at home. The Commanders have the Colts on the road, and the Giants have the Seahawks on the road. I'd like to hear your picks first before I give you mine.
Give the Cowboys a win over the Bears because why not?
So
Why would
we both agree here, by the way, that's a 3-win stretch. So like 3 weeks, and the Cowboys have their bye after that, so they're riding into the bye on a 3-game winning streak.
That is correct. The Commanders are going to lose to the Colts. Of course they are. It's in Indianapolis. I wonder how Colts fans will react to Carson Wentz. Like, I don't know if there's the same level of vitriol for him.
There is.
I'm guessing
Chris Ballard has ensured that there's a level of vitriol.
That's true. But I don't like Indy. I just don't know. Like, Indy maybe being a little bit more of a forgiving market.
I was gonna totally agree with you. Like, is Indy like a market that acts scorned, like ever?
Right.
Like they're just I'm not saying they're soft, but like they're just like generally polite. That I can't really like imagine them like cursing. You know what I mean? But whatever.
They'll be booing. Of course they will. But okay. And then
so Giants at Seahawks. Let's hear that one first.
Okay, so Giants at Seahawks. Oh, what a ugly game. I'll give the Giants a win.
They won their last trip there with Colt McCoy.
Yeah, and Drew Lock is terrible. I'd rather bet on Daniel Jones than Drew Lock.
What about BLG, the Keystone Bowl?
The Steelers have not won in Philly since like 1966 or something. Do you know Jeff Hartman from Behind the Steel Curtain?
Of course I do.
So Jeff will tell you the Steelers are not winning this game because they never win when they go to Philly. So I will take the Eagles to beat what could be a little bit of homecoming for Kenny Pickett, who is from like South Jersey and grew up as an Eagles fan. But the Eagles will beat the Steelers because they always do.
I can't wait for whatever network this is on for their pregame show to do the like predictable low hanging fruit thing and be like, once upon a time, these franchises had to merge, and they were the Steagles back. Okay, thank you so much for the history lesson. Nobody knows that. Really great job by you. I, Brandon, have this week. This is week 8 to be very clear here. So appropriately, Ocho as a clean sweep for the NFC East. Cowboys dub, Eagles dub, Commanders dub, which I'll talk about in a second, and Giants dub. Again, Giants winning in Seattle. Seattle's a dumpster fire. I think we're all kind of waiting to be like proven wrong on Kenny Pickett, and if we are, cool, whatever. But I'm not believing it. Again, the Bears for the Cowboys, but the first real, of course, Carson Wentz is going to go back to Indianapolis, and Carson Wentz. I want to be very clear that I'm talking just about the fallout with Indianapolis. Has done nothing wrong. Like Carson has been the adult, I think, between him and the Colt. Hear me out. Just as far as the breakup with Indianapolis is concerned, I realize there is an incredible past of childish and immature behavior on Carson's part, so I'm not in any way exonerating that. But as far as the breakup between he and the Colts are concerned, Carson has done the right thing. He has just shut up and kept quiet. And
what can he say? What can he possibly say?
But he hasn't trashed the franchise the way that the franchise has trashed him.
You'd have no legs to stand on there.
I don't think that's true at all. I think he would say, like, I didn't throw a ton of interceptions last year. Like, the defense folded and collapsed at certain points. Like, but he has. I give him not credit, but I don't take away credit from him the way I take away from Chris Ballard. And this is Carson's one moment. Like, this is going to be 2017 Wentz. This is going to be an amazing Carson Wentz moment, and I will, in a very small way, enjoy it, because this is going to be the egg on Chris Ballard's face. He has done nothing but not just trash. I mean, but like openly trash, and like just like. I'm talking like the gross trash in the deepest part of the trash can, like bake on top of Carson all off season long. And Carson is going to come to town in Indianapolis and embarrass him. And then he's going to have to talk and be like, he's a great player and we knew that. And it was in our best interest to move on and blah, blah, blah. Nah, this is Carson's moment. And I'm a firm believer in that.
Isn't it crazy how, like, there are all these kind of like revenge game opportunities for Carson Wentz on the schedule? Like, that doesn't always happen with like the player, especially in a different conference. Like, he's being traded to a different conference, and the Eagles just so happen to play, or the Commanders just so happen to play the one that the NFC East gets. Like, that's a mighty coincidence that this happened.
It's amazing that he has 3 revenge games that are all like revenge opportunities within the span of the last 2 years. Like, and it's not just like he moved on, but it's like the breakup was so bad that revenge is a obtainable thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's whatever. Like Nick Foles isn't getting revenge on the Bears. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that bad of a breakup.
But also, like, it's revenge for both sides. It's not even just like, hey, we moved on, but it's also like the teams who are kind of have a bad taste in their mouth too and would like to beat him probably.
I know you don't want to pick Carson, but don't you agree that like Chris Ballard is writing a lot of checks here? Like, he is. Sure. He is really like, and again, like what he told Mike Florio, like, oh, even if we'd won that game, like Carson sucked. Like, we were gonna move on anyway. Like, and it's like,
more than one thing can be true. I think Ballard has gone overboard in a lot of ways. In
every way, Chris Ballard hasn't answered for any of the sins of the Indianapolis Colts. It's everybody's fault. Like, that is massive loser energy. MLE.
Sure, I'm not going to defend Chris Ballard, but I'm also not going to defend Carson Wentz at all.
I have to defend Carson Wentz like as a result of Chris Ballard's stupidness is really the point I'm at. But okay, let's move on. Right. Week 9, Cowboys are on bye. The Eagles are in Houston, easy dub. The Commanders have the Vikings, and Carson coming off his high will lose, and that's it. Giants have their bye as well.
Carson versus Kirk. Wow, and a little bit of revenge game for Kirk. Not that they haven't already played, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna take the Vikings in that game. That drops the Commanders to 3-6 for me. Wow.
So hold up at that. Yeah, I have them at 3-6 at that point too.
So the Giants, they get who? They're
on the bye.
They're on the bye as well. Okay, so yeah, I have the Eagles winning and the Commanders losing.
So we again are complete in simpatico that week. Cowboys come out of their bye, BLG, to visit the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Mike McCarthy. Speaking of revenge, Mike McCarthy's revenge game. It's just a little bit worth mentioning because, look, we're both interested by like the quirks of the schedule. The Cowboys coming off their bye, and the Packers coming off 3 straight road games before this game. Although the week before is the Lions, so not really like a difficult thing. But 2 weeks before is the Bills. But anyway, I've got the Cowboys losing. I'm not going to pretend that this is a win for them. I mean, it's tough. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers owns them. Right.
So I've got Dallas losing at Lambeau. I have the Giants winning against the Texans at home. You with me there?
Giants winning against the Texans?
Yeah. This is week 10, by the way, for everyone.
No, I have the Giants losing.
Okay. So the other game here is the Philadelphia Eagles hosting Carson Wentz and the Commanders. And again, of course, Carson is going to come. Carson's going to, his 2 best games this year are going to be at Indianapolis and at Philly. That's it. Like, those are going to be his 2 bright shining moments.
Performs well under pressure when all the pressure is on him. Yeah.
This will be here's like a sub prediction, like relative to our business. This will be the most downloaded episode of BGN Radio of the year. after
I don't know about the year.
after
Maybe the
Carson Wentz goes to Philadelphia and wins.
Mm.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to look through the replies on the BGN Radio Twitter account that are like, "What are your 3 words or whatever to describe the loss?" It will be so therapeutic after the Cowboys have lost to the Packers.
I do think the Eagles in Washington split. I do think, and I don't even think it's necessarily like it's going to be one of two things. I said this on BGN Radio. Wentz is going to have like an amazing game, like 4 touchdowns, whatever, or he's going to have like Donovan McNabb like got his revenge against the Eagles when he completed like 8 of 13 passes back.
Yeah,
whatever.
I can totally see that. I could see like. Or he's gonna have like an 80-yard touchdown that's like a dump off to like Antonio Gibson, who just like takes it to the house or something. Like, and like it will look so much friendlier than it actually was. And Washington will have like 2 pick sixes or something that will just like. But
it's like a gaslighting thing. It's like Carson. They never should have traded. Never should have gotten rid of him. What are you talking about? Didn't even play well.
It's inevitable.
And I like Jimmy's prediction for this game. Jimmy had the Washington winning, but Taylor Heineke is the one who leads them to victory because Carson Wentz is hurt at this point.
That would be so funny. But not funny if he's hurt, but it'd be funnier if he got benched and and they were down 10 or something and Taylor Heineke came in and won. I think Eagles fans would almost enjoy that more than a win. You know, but
disagree.
Okay. So to some degree, we both have them losing. But anyway, we move on to week 11. I have Dallas winning at Minnesota, kind of like the season opener. This is their first 2 games after the bye. I've got them.
Kirk.
Well, so Kirk has lost to the Cowboys at home
last year.
The last 2 years. And so he actually has lost at home to 2 non-Dak Prescott quarterbacks for the Cowboys. He lost at home to Andy Dalton in 2020, and then he lost at home to Cooper Rush last year. By the way, I don't know if you know this, the last 3 Dallas Cowboys quarterbacks to start and win games all got their first win as Cowboys quarterbacks on the road against Kirk Cousins. Obviously, Cooper Rush and Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's first registered win as the starter was that game in Minnesota, and Dak Prescott's first ever career win was on the road against Kirk's Washington team back in 2016. So if you're no, that was a Sunday afternoon. In 2016. But anyway, so big mistake by you. But I've got the Cowboys winning there. My point is, I think they go 1-1. I think they split the Packers-Vikings games. Little subplot. I know the bye breaks it up. Cowboys play the whole NFC North straight up. Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. But so I think they split those 2. I've got the Eagles winning in Indianapolis. Nick Sirianni's revenge. I have the Commanders losing at home to the Houston Texans, and the Detroit Lions winning at New York. That's what I
have. What did you say about Dak and his So I'm thinking of the 2016 season where they played the Vikings on Thursday Night Football and won.
That was not Kirk though. That was that's what I'm saying. Like the last 3 Cowboys quarterbacks, their first wins in their careers were on the road against a team that Kirk Cousins was playing for.
And you love Kirk. Interesting. All right.
How do you think?
Well, yeah, but you think he's good. Okay, so I have the Cowboys beating the Vikings for sure.
So
I have the Commanders beating the Texans at this point.
I've got them losing, right?
Okay. And then I have the Eagles beating the Colts, yes.
I'm with you.
I have the Giants losing to the Lions. I have the Lions sweeping the NFC East except for the Cowboys.
Wow. I have them beating the Giants, and that's it. I have them almost getting swept. I think their only win comes against the Giants.
Okay.
So, okay.
Bring us to week 12, which is...
Week 12, speaking of the Giants, this is Thanksgiving. Cowboys-Giants on Thanksgiving. I am obligated, Brandon, to tell you that the last time the Cowboys hosted the Giants on Thanksgiving Day, they won the Super Bowl.
Wow.
These are facts. Cowboys have the Giants. Cannot wait to see Daniel Jones. You know how it is, like the commercial break in the middle of the second quarter where he's like with his family. He's like, "Happy Thanksgiving from the Jones family." Like it will be the most like boring thing of all time. But I've got the Cowboys winning on Thanksgiving Day. I have the Eagles winning against the Green Bay Packers that week. I have the Commanders beating the Atlanta Falcons, and obviously I have the Giants losing in Dallas.
Why do you have the Eagles beating the Packers?
It will happen. Like, I
It
mean,
will happen. That's your reasoning.
well, I mean, they sneaky what like in my mind, I always think of was it week 17 or I'm not week 7, 2017, that Super Bowl season. Like, wasn't it early in the year the Eagles went to Lambeau and like almost won?
That was 2019.
Okay, but it was like a really close game, right? Like they almost won, and I think it was Thursday Night Football. Am I right
Yep.
in that?
Yeah, the Eagles were running the ball a lot in that game.
I think that they just like they'll play them tough. I mean, like, and the Packers are going to take a step back. They're not just going to sweep this division. Like, I think the Eagles, Eagles get some weird wins sometimes. I think this is a Philly win.
It's just tough for me to look at how Jonathan Gannon's defenses did against good quarterbacks last year. Allowed 5 passers to complete 80% of their passes, and you look at the Eagles secondary right now, and it's Darius Slay, who's coming off a Pro Bowl season. Okay, great. He's on the wrong side of 30. And the Eagles' other starter at cornerback right now is, I don't know. And their starting safeties are Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris. So I think Aaron Rodgers, even not having Devontae Adams, will be able to do some damage against that secondary. So it's tough for me to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt there. So I actually have them losing that one. I have the Cowboys winning, obviously, against the Giants on Turkey Day. And then I have the Washington Commanders beating the Falcons, who they're right down there, too, when we're talking about worst teams in the league. I mean, what do the Falcons have going for them?
I will say that this is the week I'm most looking forward to, obviously. I mean, Thanksgiving's always fun, but Thanksgiving this year is my son's first birthday. He was born the day before Thanksgiving last year, as you recall. And look, I love our son. Like, obviously, like everything about it was awesome, but it kind of wrecked my ability to eat Thanksgiving dinner. So, like, I did not. My wife, well, I mean, like, she gave birth, so like,
yeah, you had a really hard,
right? But like,
she had to give birth.
She gave birth, so I mean, like, there was a large investment on her part, but she did get Thanksgiving dinner. She got Thanksgiving dinner. The hospital served it to her. Like, I mean, it was like their cafeteria, or whatever. Do you know what I ate for dinner on Thanksgiving this year?
Yeah.
Or last year?
Fat Burger.
It was Burger King, and it was
close.
awful. It was
What did you get from Burger King?
It was I got like a burger and fries, obviously, and then I thought that the chicken fries would be good. You know what I'm talking about? They're like chicken tenders shaped like fries. But none of it hit. Like, it was such a like crazy, chaotic, like energy few days that like, nothing was like, my body wasn't absorbing anything, so it just like wasn't a good meal. So I'm very, very, very excited for Thanksgiving dinner this coming year.
I think Burger King is a high variance, like based on location. I think some locations are much better than others.
I think that's really well said. Like, it's definitely a hit or miss. But that was a big miss. So,
yep.
Okay. Dallas does not play on the Thursday after Thanksgiving, BLG. And normally, when they do not play on the Thursday after Thanksgiving, they get a Saturday game later in the season, but they have a second Thursday game. So we'll get to that, obviously, in a little bit. But the Cowboys will be at home. They have 3 home games in a row, 3-game homestand against the Indianapolis Colts in Week 13. I want to come back to this one. I have the Eagles losing to the Titans in this game. Obviously, if Malik Willis is the starter, though, I reserve the right to change my prediction. And then I have the Giants beating the Commanders at home that week. I'd like to hear your thoughts on those first.
Give the Cowboys a win over the Colts. Just because you hate Chris Ballard so much, I guess. I have Washington. I'm going to have them split, a little spoiler here, with the Giants. And then I have the Eagles beating the Titans. I think that's one of the games with the least amount of juice on the Eagles' entire schedule. I know there's the whole A.J. Brown thing, but like, that doesn't seem super relevant to me from the Eagle side. Like, it's not like
it was such a like amicable split up that it's like there's no.
Well, Eagles fans don't like hate Titans fans either. Like, it's like, oh wow, AJ's getting revenge.
Who do Titans fans hate? Like, who do the Titans have a beef with? Like,
I guess the Colts, but like outside of their division.
Is there like? I'm asking this like, we're both NFL fans. Like, is there any AFC South like rivalry that like you are like, oh, like yes, can't wait to watch this? Because like, Chiefs and Chargers are playing, we're all about it, right? Like, yeah. Packers and Vikings are playing, we're all about it, right? Bengals and Steelers, Ravens and Steelers, we're all about it. Even like Bills, Patriots, even like, Jets, Patriots to a certain degree. There's nothing in the AFC South that like gets me pumped.
No, definitely not. Especially now.
So speaking of, on the subject of course, I have the Cowboys losing to the Indianapolis Colts because only I have properly hated on the Colts this offseason at the SB Nation NFL show. Nobody else, none of my colleagues here at SB Nation have done that except for me. And I have made it a point to, hold the Colts accountable. And I've got them losing, obviously, to Carson Wentz. I've got them losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, my Cowboys are going to make me look bad. Like, of course, the Colts are going to live up to the badness.
Like the Broncos from last year.
Right, exactly. Like they are, the Colts are going to put egg on my face. That's the of course.
This one's on the Broncos all season long, and then they beat the Cowboys.
Exactly. This one's all about me. I have made this bed, and so the Cowboys are going to force me to lie in it. So, Cowboys lose into the Colts. I think that's fair. But okay, let's move on. Week 14, Cowboys win against their little brothers, the Houston Texans, and I have the. By the way, the Commanders are on their bye. I have the Eagles winning at New York. Speaking of revenge, where they lost last year.
Yeah, so I have the Cowboys at 9-4 at this point. Commanders at 7-7, Eagles at 8-5, Giants at 4-9. So I have the Eagles beating the Giants, the Commanders winning against. Who do they play? I lost track here. I already said I had them splitting with the Giants. So there you go.
So hold up, records. Let's do a record check in.
Yeah.
I do have the Cowboys at 9-4. You have the Eagles at what?
8-5.
I have them at 8-5 as well. And the Commanders.
No. Yeah, I have the Commanders at 7-7.
I have them at 5 wins at this point, at their bye. And the Giants, after the loss to the Eagles, you have how many wins?
4-9.
I have them at 6 wins. So I'm a little. So our kind of biggest variance here is I'm more Giants, you're more Commanders, seemingly.
Well, you did have the Giants winning the NFC, so interesting how you're going to get them up to above Eagles and Cowboys the rest
Week
of the way.
15, welcome to Deep December. I have the Cowboys winning in Duval County. It's Dallas's first trip to Jacksonville since 2006 BLG. Fun fact for you, and really, this is the official player of the NFC East Mixtape. That was T.O.'s debut with the Dallas Cowboys last time they visited Jacksonville. But so that's their 10th win of the season, right? We agree? You have them winning?
Nope. I have Dougie P coming through
gosh.
and upsetting. I can see it. I can see Doug Peterson doing a big for the Eagles and beating the Cowboys. Trevor Lawrence is going to go off. Boom.
The Philadelphia Eagles, I have winning at Chicago. Although, if there's an of course lurking for you, like your version of the Colts and Broncos, it's Justin Fields.
Yeah, that could be. That's a fair point. But I think he sucks. So.
Okay, so I have the Giants, the Cowboys and Eagles winning, and I have the Giants winning against the Commanders. This is, by the way, I mentioned this to you before we recorded. The Commanders play the Giants in back-to-back games. They do have the bye week that sandwiches them, so it's at Giants by Giants at home for the Commanders. That's stupid. Well, the NFL did improve off of last year's NFC East Mageddon, but this is lame. But I have the Giants with you. I'm along with you. I have them sweeping that series.
So yeah. I have yes. Wait, you have the Giants being swept or sweeping?
I have the Giants sweeping. So you have the Commanders sweeping? Oh, so we have different brooms here. Oh. We're like Obi-Wan and Anakin, but our lightsabers are brooms. That's what's going on here.
Okay.
Who is who? Are you Obi-Wan or Anakin?
I
think you're definitely Anakin. You're definitely Vader in this situation.
I do have a Darth Vader costume.
I know. It's on his gram at Brandon Gowton. But anyway, okay, let's move on. Week 16. We'll come to Cowboys, Eagles in a moment, but the Commanders at San Francisco.
I don't know what to make of the 49ers. I really don't.
It's tough.
I'll take the Commanders to lose.
Me too. Again, I don't know what to make of San Francisco, but I'll trust them more. And New York at Minnesota.
I will take the Vikings to win.
Me too. So we're on the same page here. We both have Commanders and Giants losses, which brings us to Philly at Dallas in December. Awooga. We both have Dallas winning the earlier matchup in the season. I have Dallas, speaking of brooms, sweeping them yet again.
I do in my predictions that I made, but I don't want to do that again here. And I want to change it this time. Eagles did famously beat the Cowboys with Jeff Garcia at the helm on Christmas. This is Christmas Eve. This is, by the way, a big win for us, Brandon and RJ, because this game is Christmas Eve, so we get to spend Christmas with our families, and it's a Saturday, so we get that's always the best when you get a Sunday to enjoy what's happening around the NFL. Well, I mean, most of the games are going to be on Saturday anyway.
Still, though, you still get Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad it's not on Christmas itself. Yes, I will take that. I will take the Eagles to win here.
So you already countering your own self. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't feel great, but I'm doing it anyway.
Okay, so week 17, Dallas playing. This is another holiday lurking. Christmas Day is on a Sunday this year, which means that New Year's Day is also on a Sunday next year. But Dallas visits Tennessee on Thursday Night Football. So once again, shout out to me. I get to enjoy New Year's Eve with my family. But I have Dallas losing to Tennessee.
Ooh, interesting. I'll take them. I'll take the Cowboys to win.
I'm not like saying like, oh, the Titans are like rough and tough and scary, but like there is like they're gonna like every team's gonna lose games. You know what I mean? Like so Titans are again the Malik Willis factor could change things, but I have Dallas losing. I have Philly winning at home against the New Orleans Saints. The Commanders play the Cleveland Browns at home, and I don't think we really want to give much time to the Browns, but I think we assume that Deshaun Watson will be playing by then at the very least, which is why I have the Browns winning, and I have the Giants losing to the Indianapolis Colts as well.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so then that takes us to week 18. Once again, the NFC East Bowl. We've got Philly hosting the Giants at home and Dallas on the road at Washington. Who wins those two games?
I will take I'll take Washington to win one of them, which drops the Cowboys down to 10-7 for me, I believe. And then I'm gonna have I can't take the Eagles to split against the Giants. I know the Giants have beaten them, but the Giants are just really bad. So I'll take the Eagles to win, getting to 12-5, and then that puts the Giants at 4-13.
I have the Cowboys and Eagles winning. Once again, my BLG's prediction, this whole exercise was super slanted against the Cowboys. Mine was really straight and fair and down the middle, just so all of our listeners are well aware.
I'm not buying the Cowboys though. Like I think they're taking.
But like the losses you have are so stupid and weird. Like you think they'll beat the Titans but lose to the Commanders? Like what's that? Like I mean, make it make sense.
I think losing to the Lions.
Let's put this all together. We will go in ascending order from last year's division standings. The New York Giants you have finishing where?
4-13.
I have them finishing 7-10, which I think we both agree would be a very good first season for Brian Daboll.
Realistically, the best they can do. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the Commanders you have finishing at
8-9, right in the middle.
I've got them 5-11. I am not a believer, and I think it's Ron Rivera's last year there, and they're back at the well of head coaches yet again in 2023.
I think that's a little too low on Wentz because I think he does offer some kind of very mediocre, middling kind of platform, and so does Ron Rivera.
I think that the words you said are stupid. The Philadelphia Eagles, I have finishing at 11-6. So never let it be said that RJ is just a hater.
The schedule is so easy for them that, and like for the questions that remain about them being able to beat good teams, we saw last year that they very much were able to take care of bad quarterbacks / bad teams. And I think they got better. So I think they're going to be able to do that again. So I have them at 11-6 in my real projection too, but somehow I ended up with 12-5 here.
To that point, these are the quarterbacks I have the Eagles beating. And I like to look at things that way. We talked about it last week, but these are the quarterbacks I have them winning against. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, and in order, obviously. Trevor Lawrence, who is still sort of an unwritten book. Kenny Pickett, or Mitchell Trubisky, whatever. Davis Mills, Matt Ryan, who I think is washed. Aaron Rodgers, and fine, like maybe it's not Aaron Rodgers, maybe it's Wentz the other time, whatever. Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, and Daniel Jones. Like those are all very, very winnable quarterbacks to play. Okay, so Cowboys, I have finishing at 12-5, and you have them at 10-7. So, easy schedule for this whole group, which is why we've got a lot of wins happening around here. So, wow. Whose prediction do you agree with the most? BLG is on Twitter at Brandon Gowton. I am on Twitter at RJ Ochoa.
One more thing I want us to do, RJ.
Oh no.
So the Eagles happen to have a first-round pick from the New Orleans Saints next year. Will you entertain me and run through the Saints schedule real quick and see how many wins / losses we can come up with them? All right, you ready to do it?
Okay,
right,
so okay, go for it.
At Falcons.
That's a win. I'm talking like from the perspective of the Saints. That's a win.
Okay, yeah. Versus the Bucks.
Loss. Although
they do own the Bucks.
I think they'll split, but they'll lose that one.
All right. Yeah, it's in Tampa. At Carolina.
Win.
Versus the Vikings.
Loss.
Versus the Seahawks.
Win.
versus the Bengals
Loss.
versus at the Cardinals.
I think that's a like they'll have some like toss-up games, so I'll give that to them.
Okay. Then versus the Raiders.
Another toss-up, so they'll lose. Like I think they'll split those kind of games.
Versus the Ravens.
Loss. Ravens are coming for that 1 seed.
I should mention, by the way, that other Cowboys game that had the Eagles winning. It's the 3rd straight road game, so that's why I don't feel good about them actually winning that. It's tough. Okay, so we have the Saints at 4 wins so far. Then they're in Pittsburgh against the Steelers.
Win.
Okay. Versus the Rams.
Loss.
At the 49ers.
I think they win that game because I think that's the point where like people are like really chirping about Kyle Shanahan. Like there's problems there.
Then you have them beating the Bucs because you said they're going to split. That's in Tampa. Either way. Versus the Falcons.
Win. And I think like so their bye's in the middle of that. So that's a 4-week stretch. Well, they'll have won 3 games in a row. So I think that's the point where every Eagles fan is like, this pick is going to be terrible. Like everyone's like doubting Howie, even though he's like amazing at this. But go ahead.
Okay. Then that brings us to at Cleveland.
Loss.
At Philly.
Doesn't really matter, right? Like so, but yeah, I think that's a loss for them.
Versus Carolina.
Win.
Okay, so you have them getting to 9 wins, which if that were in like so teams that finished with 9 wins in the 2022 NFL draft were the Dolphins at 9-8.
Ironic.
Okay. So the Eagles pick, the Eagles own that, and also the Indianapolis Colts.
Amazing.
And the Chargers at number 17, and then the Eagles at 9-8 at number 18, who made the playoffs.
I think if you wind up with like a top 17, 16, 15 pick, though, I think that's a success.
Oh, sure, yeah, I think you do that. That's like it's not like the Eagles only made that trade because they thought the Saints would be like a top 5 pick, like, the bottom team.
I think what happened with the Giants and the Bears like feeds unrealistic expectations. You never trade for something and then like wind up with a top 5 pick. Like, that's just so rare.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like it's so like it takes a like incredible like sequence of events that just are extremely unlikely. So
right, yeah. Russell Wilson having his first below 9-win season ever, and getting in games for the first time ever. Yeah,
right. The Bears are the Bears. So, I mean, that's kind of what it is. But okay, well, job well done by us. Congratulations to us. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, BLG?
No. Listen to BGN Radio because I have a restaurant take that is coming up. It's Philly specific, so maybe wouldn't be. Although if let's say you're a Cowboys fan and you're traveling to Philly for a game this year, then tune in because it could be a good recommendation.
All right, Brandon, let's get out of here. The final 2 words belong to you. Make them great.
F you, pay me.